Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first trip to Nintendoland for 2021. I'm your host, video producer, Mike Burgess from Irrational Passions. I'm joined, as always, by the Diddy to my Donkey Kong, Alex O'Neill.
Yes, I would love Diddy's. He's my favorite.
Jetpack. You got your jetpack on and your peanut guns, and you landed on in. Hello, Alex. We're face to face.
Yeah,
that's right.
People can see us.
We're here. That's right. We're changing some stuff up for Nintendoland. We took a little bit of a, I would say, like extended holiday break in some way, shape, or form, from our last episode, and I think we just went into. It was like towards the end of 2020, and we were like talking about doing one more episode before the end of the year. And I think we were going to talk about the big Nintendo game, Age of Calamity, but then stuff came out about it, and it was like kind of middling. And I think let's just focus on the other stuff we want to do. Like we did like a big end of the year stream, and we did game. Now we're doing game of the year. So I think
we have not a lot of non-Nintendo games that we could do stuff for that seem to be more exciting to talk about.
Totally, and just like general 2020 vibes, as everyone I'm sure is feeling as well, still a little bit. So we were just kind of like, let's not like overkill on trying to do all this stuff at once, and then we'll get back to Nintendo Land when we could, and we're here. And we talked about changing it up. We're gonna hopefully try and be on a more regular schedule here in 2021, and we're also doing a video version because, as I said up front, I'm a video producer and I like making video content, but it was very difficult to do in 2021 just because of life and stuff. And I'm going to try and get more of it out there. And so I went like, hey, Alex, let's just do a video version of this so I can do that. So
yeah, why not?
Yeah, we're going to be on all our usual podcast services. So there'll be an audio version. So you can still listen on there if you prefer that. But yeah, we'll be on YouTube as well for audio listeners, youtube.com/irrationalpassions. You can see some nice graphics that I made for the show, and we'll add some video gameplay, all that kind of fun stuff to the video version. So yeah, check it out if you want. But we're going to get into some Nintendo news. We're going to do a little bit of stuff that we missed over our extended break. Then we are going to talk about some games. I did actually play Age of Calamity, and I'm literally on the final mission, so I'm going to have a lot to say when we get to our games talk. Got some cool indie games as well. And then to wrap up the show, we're going to be making some predictions for 2021, Alex.
There's a whole year of Nintendo ahead of us with many, many, many Nintendo anniversaries in it. So
yes. Yeah, a whole lot of anniversaries. There's already some cool stuff we know that's coming pretty soon. But first we'll start off with the first news bit I pulled here. We'll get through it pretty quick because, as always, another Smash character had dropped in between our shows, and that was Sephiroth. Remember Sephiroth came into Super Smash Brothers?
how did like that? How does that feel like forever ago?
Yeah,
and it was like just like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was only a couple weeks ago. We played it and everything. We did a stream with it.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a really cool reveal. Yeah, it was the Game Awards. They revealed Sephiroth, and then they released him like a week after that or so. And then we played on stream. So I think there's a stream archive somewhere of that.
Yeah, and the moments passed, but man, what a hype moment! Just,
totally.
We hadn't gotten one of those for Smash in a little bit. Byleth and Min just not as exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Steve, there was certainly a group of folks that are very excited about Steve, and I'm happy for them. But this one spoke a little bit more
the Zoomer crowd and the meme crowds, the memer crowds.
Yeah. But also the trailer itself had the kind of absurdity that I think like the Steve trailer lacked in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And part of that's because like everyone kind of saw that coming eventually.
Yeah, and I you're totally right. Like I think that trailer was like, you're right. You're like, all right, here it is. Here's literally Sephiroth cutting the final boss of the whole entire
the game.
Of the game. Yeah, of like the single player mode and Smash Ultimate in half in like one slice. in front of all like the entire cast of characters, and it's just like what the f, and then you have like literally,
and then here's Advent Children.
yeah, shit, like almost like multiple like shot for shot moments taken from Advent Children fight, like lines of dialogue taken from the movie. It's
like
it's ridiculous. It was ridiculous trailer.
It's twofold things, right? Because no one even speculated about Sephiroth. No one even like entertained that as an idea. And you know, there's podcasts out there where you and I talked about like how it's also a little disappointing because like, okay, maybe there's probably not going to be another Square Enix character that could have been somebody else, like
Right.
could have just been someone totally new or someone from a different Final Fantasy. So there's aspects of it that are disappointing, but just no one knowing that was coming and that being like a collective surprise for everyone is great. But the best Smash trailers are when like Sakurai reveals probably a little too much about himself. And in this, we like learned that he's like a weird Advent Children stan, and it's like great. I love him even more.
Yeah, totally. It's like you definitely really get that. Like you can tell he like has like a care for like every aspect of like when he puts a character in, he makes sure to like include everything he can about that character, especially with like or at least with like the DLC characters that have come from these two Smash Ultimate passes.
I mean, a lot of Ultimate just in general has gotten that level of service. Luckily, like the Belmont trailer is still one of the best video game trailers ever made. Period. Yes. Don't want to hear it. You know,
give us
the K. Rool trailer in the same boat for me of like Diddy and Donkey Kong just hanging out. And, totally.
Give us a make Luigi's Mansion for an actual like
just a Castlevania crossover.
Just Castlevania cross. Yeah, just have actual Luigi going into the Castlevania castle and like fighting Dracula. And
God, that'd be so good.
Yes, that'd be incredible. Very good.
Like a Luigi's Mansion game where he just goes to a bunch of haunted video game locations, like the mansion from Resident Evil or Silent Hill or Dracula's castle.
Luigi's gonna get stepped on by that new Resident Evil lady.
Hell yeah, he is, and he'll be like, okay,
okay, yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, this makes sense for this character.
He'll yell and shoot a plunger at him, and then he'll just get stepped on, and all of Twitter will be horny for like another 3 weeks. That's how it'll go. But that would be really fun, just to have more crossovers like that. But yeah, like you said, like that happened. It felt like it happened like forever ago, but it's only probably been like a month since it came out. But a lot has happened, to be fair, since that time has passed, good and bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the first little news item I pulled up. The next one, which I just pulled for me because I thought it was exciting, was they have a new Animal Crossing update. I think it's actually the update itself is live as you'll see this live here, the podcast. But basically they're doing like a New Year festival little update in Animal Crossing where like this like peacock character is like in your town, and there'll be that festival. But the big thing for me was at the end of that trailer, they teased another update in March, and like alongside the update logo had like a Mario mushroom and a Mario star, kind of teasing, I think, that like the next update is going to be them actually adding in like Nintendo items, which was like my favorite thing about some of the previous Animal Crossing games, like especially New Leaf. Was probably the one I played the most, and like that was a big thing of like I liked going into the shops and seeing the different little Nintendo callback items and being like, oh yeah, here's like a sick R-Wing from Star Fox that I can just place in my house and like walk up to it and like touch it and it'll make like noises. Or I can put like Mario blocks that like float in my like little living room or whatever. And like
I remember I had the Master Sword. Was there one that was a Triforce, and if you like clicked on it, it like did the little opening sound to A Link to the Past? Okay, I had that too. I was like, that sounds too specific to not be real, but it also sounds crazy.
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of stuff like that, like in the I think it was mostly. I think they might have been in the other ones, because I know like the very original Animal Crossing had like straight up like you could play old games in it.
NES games, which I had. I think I got all of those in the GameCube one.
Yeah, but yeah, and I think I'm not sure how they like again it was just like a really quiet tease at the end of the things. I don't know how far this one will go with that stuff. I think we might not get some of those games just because they sell those games on are they're on like the Switch Online service. So like we probably won't see like that extent, but like it's cool to see like them finally add those items in, because that's like a thing I've been waiting for, to be like, okay, yeah, I will actually go to back onto my island and be depressed for like a week because all my villagers are like, where were you for like 8 months? And I'm like, sorry.
Where have you been?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry. Sorry, Marina. Don't hate me.
There's other video games, but that doesn't mean I don't love you.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that I bet that March update, whatever it's going to be, it might even end up being more substantial than that, just because it's the 1 year.
Yeah,
anniversary.
Totally. Yeah, I think there could be a lot of stuff, so I'm looking forward to that. And then that'll be soon. But for now, it's just like the more usual seasonal Animal Crossing update, where it's like it's a New Year's like Festivale, I think is what it's called, and they like there's like a peacock like lady or dude that's like in the town square, and you can collect like party feathers like all around the island, and then you can like take them back and get items and craft stuff with it. Yeah, usual Animal Crossing stuff. Yeah, which is fun. But yeah, look forward to seeing more of whatever that update ends up being. The next big one, we finally got an exciting date for a new upcoming Switch game, new Pokemon Snap, baby. Stoked for this.
What's the temperature for this one for you, Mike?
I'm stoked. I'm pretty.
This
stoked.
is like a one of my. I mean, there's not a lot of known games coming out in 2021 right now. At least no firm dates. This is like easily one of my most anticipated.
I'd put it up there too for me, pretty high, especially in terms of like Nintendo Switch games this year, like. Because like, you know, there's obviously like the much bigger games we know nothing about tier of like Breath of the Wild and, you know, other games. But I would say like games we know for sure of, like for this, it's like probably it would probably be like this game and like No More Heroes 3 would probably be like the two big ones for me that I know are like in the next couple of months on the Switch. I'm pretty excited for. And they put out a new trailer. It's coming out April 30th. On the Nintendo Switch, and it still looks fantastic. Like they showed, I would still like to know a little bit more of like gameplay specifics of like, you know, is it kind of on rails, or is it more like freeform exploratory, like, which they haven't really shown, like how much actual interactions are there between like the Pokemon you see and like what you can do with them. Like I still want to see some of that stuff, but even so, like baseline, like just visually, it looks really awesome. Like the whole like aesthetic they're going for with this one, I really like. So and they showed like it seems like it'll be a little bit more substantial than that first game, at least in some regards, because they did show like you can pick like you want, if you want to be like a male or female like photograph taker. I don't know if there's like a specific name in the world of Pokemon, like
Poke photographer.
Yeah, Poke photographer, or like Poke snapper or something.
Yeah,
like, they probably,
God, I hope it's Poke snapper.
They probably have some weird name for it, right? But yeah, you could be like male or female, or you can also choose like skin colors and stuff. I think that was in the trailer, which was nice to see.
It's like, honestly, I almost don't want to know what there is in this game, because the progression of Pokemon Snap is so special. And to be fair, like back then there were no trailers for games, so like when I originally played Pokemon Snap on my N64 when I rented it from a Blockbuster, like I had no idea what it was. But one of the many things that I love about that game is just how it slowly kind of reveals more and more to it. Like you don't know, or I didn't when I played that first game, that I would be able to go back through the first level with like apples and these little stun bombs and the flute and all these items that you unlock that then make playing through those levels feel totally different, and you see totally different interactions with Pokemon. So like just knowing that is the original game baseline, this sequel 22 years later, has had a lot of time to think about that. But more importantly, it's got 700 more Pokemon to throw in the mix. So at the very least, the variety of Pokemon interactions that you should in theory be able to see, like if it's double what they had in the first Pokemon Snap, like it's worth $60.
I was gonna say I feel like they've already they at least said, I already think they said somewhere the number of Pokemon that are in the game, but I don't think they've.
It's not everyone, but it's got to be a lot.
Yeah, it's not everyone. Like again, I'm like guessing because I think it was like on like the website or whatever, and I haven't looked in a while. But
like
I want to say it was like I think I want to say it was like around like 200 at least were like it were confirmed or something.
There was like only 70 Pokemon in the original Pokemon Snap.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I think people forget that of like it didn't even have all of the original 151.
Yep.
It was cool that it had Mewtwo in there, right? Or Mew. It didn't have Mewtwo or things like that.
Right.
It was cool that it had the legendary birds and stuff and Jinx and all that, but just like, and just a call out from the trailer, like one of my absolute, I just immediately took my hype from 10 to 11 was like, there's a shot where it's like a Heracross and another bug Pokemon like locking horns in the trailer. Yeah. And I'm like, God, I just want to live in this world.
Yeah, you're just like, hell yeah. Yeah, totally. Like, yeah, that was definitely my, like most of my fondest memories from original Pokemon Snap, because I have actually I should like go back and replay that.
It's worth a replay
because I haven't in a while.
Brant Ranch and I actually did a let's play like 6 years ago on the Irrational Passions YouTube, which again, just a reminder to everyone out there that there's just an archive back if you want to see young Alex O'Neill playing Zelda games.
It's there.
But that was like 5 or 6 years ago, and we sat down in one sitting, recorded 10 episodes, and beat the game. Which is Brant's like, this is a short game, we'll be able to do this, and it was still just a jolly old time. And that's like pretty rough N64 game, just because the frame rate back then was not as a big a deal. So like literally anything is so exciting.
Yeah, like you can like watch it. You can like watch watch the trailer and already see like, wow, this is significantly.
It's in widescreen.
It's on widescreen. Yeah, widescreen. It's
oversell it enough. It's like, no, I've wanted this game for 22 years. Yep. And I'm very happy it's finally coming.
Yeah, they're just doing it. I'm really excited for that. I think honestly in general, we'll get later into it in predictions, but like this is 2021 is the 25th anniversary of Pokemon as like a franchise. The release of the games. Yeah, like I think it's like. We're going to get new Pokemon Snap in April. We're probably going to get like I think we're probably going to get a new big mainline RPG later this year for sure. Like it's going to be a great year. I'm really excited because like, the actual anniversary itself is like not that far away from when we're recording this. It's like only a month away. So I'm really stoked to see what they got in store for this year. But yeah, Pokemon Snap, I can't wait. April 30th.
I'm watching the trailer again. That jungle level comes up, and you see like the toucan Pokemon that does a little mic imitation. I'm like, I just want to play this right now.
Just let me live here for a while.
That's the best thing, because like even more than the newest Pokemon game, like this is like the most like if you just want to see a world where Pokemon exists and you just watch it, you just observe, like that's what this game is.
Totally.
And it's great.
Yeah. And that's super fun that we're getting even baseline. Like here's like a modern video game with like the ability to do that, which is awesome. Speaking of a video game that lets you do that and was close to my heart, Pokken Tournament, everyone.
Yeah,
a resident sleeper in the Wii U's content or library of games. Yes, thank you. That I really liked. They ported it to Switch. The board is pretty decent. At least they added some new Pokemon in it, but like I wish they did a little bit more on it. But Pokken stands out there. All three other of you that are hopefully going to find this podcast one day can revel with me and this tweet from Tekken director Harada-san. Who let me just pull up the tweet real quick so I can just read it verbatim. He was asked, Harada-san, you do consider Pokken a one-time only celebration of these great series, or would you be open to return and make a sequel in the future if you get a chance? That was the question he asked, and he quote tweeted and said, "We have a good relationship with the Nintendo and Pokemon Company, and Pokken has had a great response, and I would like to make it again. But it's not what we decide, it's what they decide." There it is, folks. get on Twitter.com right now at Pokemon Company. You motherfuckers can fucking sit here and like make your tweets about like, oh, bring back the national decks, you lazy developers. Blah. My fucking, whatever the fuck shitty bug Pokemon from Gen 3 isn't in this game. What the fuck? Fucking delete that tweet and go, hey man, Pokken was fucking cool as shit. Go make that game. Please actually do some valuable work and give that game another chance, because I think Pokken was super cool. It's a cool idea conceptually to make a full-on actual proper fighting Pokemon fighting game that like but also at the same time celebrates the world of Pokemon, and I think a way that like what we appreciate Pokemon Snap for, and that like they tried to show a more living Pokemon living in the world rather than like here's some static sprites and stuff, like like that, like they really give all of the Pokemon that you can play as like character, but they also like the arenas you fight in also have a lot of really cool character, like the world of Pokemon Snap did, where you're like on a boat out in the sea, and it's like you're on like a fishing boat that's like in like some middle of a Magikarp fishing season, and like this crazy like gong music is playing while like hundreds of Magikarp are like flying up the sides of this boat while they're trying to catch them while you're fighting, and it's like a really cool stage. That's there's like a inside a volcano stage where you're like fighting, and there's a bunch of like lava Pokemon that you can see the little lava slugs, but there's also like a cave like way in the back that sometimes a freaking Groudon from Ruby and Sapphire will just appear out of and just be in the background, just being like, holy shit. And it's cool. it's cool in that like Pokemon Snap way, you know what I mean, of just like, totally. Holy shit, this thing's here, this is cool as hell, and you're just like taking a bunch of pictures. Like they put a lot of they clear, like it's like a game that like they like the people who developed it clearly had a lot of love and appreciation for the Pokemon franchise, and at the same time they like made a like serviceable fighting game. Like I think it was definitely like more geared towards like an entry level like beginner friendly Pokemon fighting game, because it is like one part sort of Tekken but also sort of like arena fighter for like that's kind of just mashy and fun, and I just think if they got another stab at something like that from the knowledge they had from Pokken for another sequel, they could make like a really cool game that would actually, I think, really catch on.
Just when you tweet this at Nintendo, use the hashtag justice for Pokken, and also release the Hirata cut.
Yeah, release the Hirata cut.
Release the Hirata cut. It's what we need.
Pokken 2. You MFers, just let it live, all right?
Yeah, I would love to see another Pokken, because like much like the Switch has taught us with all things, like everything could have a second life on the Nintendo Switch. Everything Absolutely. Is possible on the Switch. Like, and I think Nintendo knows that now better than ever. So I think if I were them, I would be looking at like the franchises that have been really tricky to really sell, like Metroid, F-Zero, Star Fox, like the things that they probably, wish they could keep doing, because Nintendo likes to keep doing their things with new talent and have them make new versions or ideas of these games. Like this is the safest time for them to make like a weird Metroid game or a weird Pokemon fighting game, right? There's no better time for it, especially like after 2020, like how hard the Switch is sold. Yeah,
it was just exploded in ways that they didn't even foresee. Totally. I definitely would like to see some weirder stuff from them, for sure. Like or like not weird, but like the those some riskier and like some franchises that have been more dormant. Yeah,
because like
figuring out new ways to bring them back.
Animal Crossing wasn't like a risk. They knew it would sell fine to the people that like it, but they certainly didn't know it would do as well as it did. So right. Hopefully that can like help them take a little bit more, kind of like how movies work, right? They make 3 big blockbusters a year, but then they make 6 little indie movies that are cheaper, but they
right.
can pay for them with the blockbuster money.
Yeah. and they can just still coast off all the money they make. Totally. And yeah, like you said, I think it's going to be an interesting year for Nintendo for sure. And we'll talk about that. We'll give you some predictions, some bets, some ideas here at the end of the show. But I think for now, I think we talked a pretty good amount of news. It's all exciting stuff, but I think it's all like pretty straightforward. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yep.
We're still waiting for that first direct. Or
yeah. Like yeah. Totally. Like
be.
yeah. A lot of the stuff was pretty known quantities, and they're just now giving us dates or confirmations of stuff or updating stuff. Kind of just plucking along as we wait for those new proper releases. For sure. So how about we get into some games we've been playing on Nintendo Switch, shall we?
Sure.
Let's get into some video games. So I have a couple things here. I think the big thing is I have nearly beaten Age of Calamity. So I have a lot to say about that. But let's give these two other things I have a quick shout out first.
Sure.
The first one was the Monster Hunter Rise demo came out and happened as well. That game's coming out pretty soon. Also, it's like the end of March. And yeah, that game from that demo also like impressed me. It's definitely the like I don't see myself going back to World anytime soon, but that seems like it is enough of the updated Monster Hunter that like kind of all the updates they made in the World are now kind of are like incorporated here in Rise. And I think they nailed it. And even from this demo, and I'm like stoked to see like the full breadth of like, all right, I want to see more environments. I want to see all the different monsters that they're bringing into this game. And I also hope to actually try and find people to play the game with, because I played a lot of Monster Hunter World solo, and that was fun. But I think like that game really shines more when you play in a group of people and kind of work with each other. But yeah, I played the demo. I took on there's like two monsters that you can fight in the demo that like are like at least the ones they show you that like, hey, go on this mission to fight this one, but there are also other monsters like just like wandering around the big environment you're in, so you can also just kind of fight them if you want, if you don't want to fight the thing they're giving you. And I tried a couple of weapons. A lot of the weapons feel pretty similar to World. But there's definitely like a few major differences from that first game of like, obviously you now have a dog buddy, and the dog's pretty cool. The Palamute, because you can basically just get on it at any time and just run around, and you're just riding the dog. It can drift. Dog drift.
I remember you mentioned this.
Yeah, the dog. You can literally hold down a trigger and it'll start like trying to take a turn. And then you can let off the trigger, and it does just like a big boost, like a Mario Kart. And it's just like, all right, sure, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and it's super fun, and of course it'll fight alongside you. And if you're playing solo, you can have a dog and a cat, or you can have two dogs and two cats. Like you can have basically like two partners, however you choose it.
The
which
cat's
is nice.
Just like the Palico from World, I assume.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's the same thing. I would say at least like I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you can kind of give them different weapons and tools to spec, but at least in the demo, it seemed more like the dog was kind of more of like your offensive, like fight right alongside you, buddy, and kind of can take the aggro of the monster way easier. Where like your cat buddy seems more like a support of like he'll kind of grab items and kind of throw out traps and kind of throw down healing items for you and stuff like they did in World. So that's an interesting dynamic. I wonder if you can like kind of change that up and make the dog more support, or make the cat more offensive or something like that in the main game potentially.
I feel like probably because Monster Hunter is so about customization and especially aesthetically. So if you can change how your dog looks, which of course you can.
Yeah, a lot of dog armor.
Yeah, I'm sure if there's dog armor, there's dog weapons. So yeah.
You're probably right. But yeah, that was pretty cool. The other thing I really appreciated was like it doesn't feel like obviously it's on the Switch. It's not on like PS4, Xbox One, PC, like more modern, quote unquote modern consoles, more powerful consoles, I guess you'd say. And then so like you can see a little bit of that, like, you know, it's, you know, 30 frames a second, and it's like, okay, it's fine. I'll
I
deal
was
with
going to
it.
ask how well it like held the performance.
Yeah, like it runs at 30 frames and like it stays at that. Like it doesn't really get too bad with that. Like loading was pretty quick, at least in the demo. You know, it is all like, it is not like the other Monster Hunters or the older ones where it was like multiple sectors. It is like one big open map,
Okay.
like World was, which is cool. Um, the one thing that they did do, the slight things they changed was like they took out a lot of the like tracking stuff that was in World. Like you remember, like in World, like you would like go up to prints or like go up to like claw marks, and you then have to like interact with them, and then like they would have those like those bugs that would like fly around you, and those would end up tracking the monster once you like picked up enough stuff. I don't know if you remember that
Yeah,
from
I
World
know.
or yeah.
Yeah.
So like that stuff was in World, but now they don't have any of that in Rise. It's literally just like a big red arrow that's over your head that like points you in a direction. But one thing they did keep was like the idea of like there is like endemic life besides just the big monsters out in the world. Like, you know, you'll find a lot of like little bugs or like little creatures that you can use like in battle, which is kind of cool. Like there'll be like bugs that like, you know, give you little stamina boosts for like short periods of time, or give you damage boosts for a short period of time as you can pick them up. There's like the whole big system with the wire bugs. Is like a whole new system in this game as well, where you're like basically like these bugs you can use as grapple points, where you can basically like shoot a bug out, and then you can like, you know, like either grapple to it and you can kind of like swing on it like you know, like a grappling hook almost, or you can use it to like grapple onto a wall and like run up a wall, or you can use it with like your weapons as like special attacks. So you can kind of like,
that's really cool.
yes, you can like, you know, and it adds a lot to the combat too, like that's pretty useful because like you can use it as like almost like weird aerial recoveries and stuff if you have the bugs, but they're like limited use. So like you'll it's kind of almost like a stamina system where you'll see like you have like 3 wire bugs, and as you use one, it'll take out one of them, and you have, so basically you have like
It's on
limited
like
uses.
a cooldown.
Yeah, so you can have limited uses of those. So like it seems like a lot of like managing of like, all right, I want to like, you know, use a wire bug to like set up a big attack, but I want to also hold on to them if I screw up, because I can use those to like recover. Like if a monster does like a really big hit and kind of knocks me up into the air, I can then trigger the wire bug and do like a quick recovery and like shoot myself out of the way of an attack or something like that. So like
That's cool.
yeah, so it's definitely like feels like a little bit more faster and more active compared to like World, and I would assume like the earlier Monster Hunter games from that alone, which is a pretty nice change of pace, just giving you a little bit more movement options.
I know it was just a demo, but and maybe they've said so maybe you just know. Do we still know if there's like multiple monsters kind of out and about at the same time so they can interact? Right, that's like the best part of World, I think. So.
Yeah, totally. They've already shown a little bit of that. Like I would say in some trailers and stuff that like there's like multiple monsters like running around, and like even though like you're like in the demo specifically, like it gives you it gave you like 2 options to like, hey, go fight this monster, which looks like a little like it's kind of like a velociraptor looking dude, and then fight this other one, which is like this big 4-legged like sea dragon looking thing that like was like very pink, and it can make like bubbles that attacked you and stuff. And so they're pretty different monsters, but yeah, when you're like, you could go and walk around those environments, and like it like I said, like it has like a big arrow, so you can just go right to that monster, or you can just explore around and you can find like other big monsters just like roaming around. Like I found this big bear looking, like weird armored bear looking monster in one of the areas, and could fight that. And then there was like the more staple like Rathian, so not like the big red Rathalos dragon that's like the more iconic one, but it's like a green.
Yeah,
The green variant of that one was like in one of the maps as well, just kind of fucking around, and they'll fight. Like if you get them in close enough, they will like, you know, and they're monsters specifically that'll like have those territorial fights, like big like cinematic fights, like they can happen in this too.
That's great.
Yeah, I didn't see it in the demo, but like I've seen it, like they have put out trailers and like had some like streams where they showed off gameplay, and like that stuff's all still in this game too. So yeah, it seems like they kind of took the best of World and are incorporating it here in this new Monster Hunter, but it's just like it is a Switch game and it's on like a slightly less powerful thing. But I think it's fine.
Going the extra mile and being like, well, we can't necessarily just put World on Switch. Let's make a game like World for Switch.
Yeah, totally.
And make it all unique for that platform, and that's great.
Yeah, totally. And I think just, you know, in general, like with Monster Hunter, they've been a big thing on Nintendo consoles. So I think this is just like a sort of like a payback to them in some way to be like, all right, here's Monster Hunter Rise, which is kind of your big titular Monster Hunter, or like your next in the big series of main Monster Hunters, but also they're doing like Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is like an RPG kind of thing, like that's coming out in the summer, I think.
I'm very, very excited to see how this performs, just because like World is the best-selling Capcom game ever, so it's big shoes to follow up. And this is not on any of the platforms that World was on. So but also we know that the Switch is very successful, and a lot of people that own PS4s and Xboxes probably also own a Switch. I just wonder if that appeal will carry over. I wonder if new consoles are going to dampen that. I wonder, like, this is the first time we're really going to be able to see what it's like for Monster Hunter now in a post-World world.
Yeah, totally. Like, yeah, I'm definitely curious about that as well. And I think like something that also has kind of come out. I think this was one of those unfortunate things with like that really big Capcom leak that happened or whatever. Was like there apparently is like a PC port in the works for this game, so like eventually it will be not on Switch. So I could definitely see some people who like just Switch baby console me my 60 FPS whatever, but I think like irregardless, like I think like from that demo, and considering I'm not like the most hardcore Monster Hunter person by any means. Like I played World and beat World, and that was fun, and I liked it enough to where I would want to check this out. But I wouldn't see this as like, okay, I'm just going to be playing this game forever and checking out all the updates. Like I didn't even play Iceborne or any of the updated expansion stuff for Monster Hunter World at all. But I'm still curious about this one. It looks cool. I like the music in it too. The music was really good. I remember that as well. Like it had has like a really good battle theme when you're fighting the monster, when the monsters in the, at least in the zone I was, maybe it's like a zone specific thing. I'm not sure because there's only the one zone in the demo. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's coming out. The full game will be out in the end of March. And if you're out there listening and you're into Monster Hunter, hit me up because I'll play with you.
Because I have this demo downloaded. I gotta try it.
Yeah, because the demo is multiplayer too, so you can do multiplayer in the demo as well, which is cool.
Honestly, knowing that you can have a Palico and a Palamute with you, I'm like, I may just never play with people though.
Yeah, that's true. That is totally fair. Because I think in multiplayer you can only everyone can have one of either. I think that's how it works in multiplayer.
Sure, okay. If you could have one of either.
Yeah, because I think in multiplayer it's like you can have a dog or a cat.
I saw 4 dogs. People run on 4 dogs, so you definitely have some. So that's cool.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, it looks fun. I'm gonna get into that. Another game. I've been playing on PC, but it is also on Nintendo Switch. It is just on PC and Nintendo Switch. It's a little indie game called Nuts. And let me tell you, I'm nuts about nuts, and I've already made that joke already about like 3 times. If you go and listen,
this was the first time you made it for me.
Exactly.
So I'll take it.
Great, thank you. Because I made it. You can go on our YouTube channel. If you're on our YouTube channel, you'll probably see there's a Viewpoints gameplay video, kind of where we just play game and chat about it as we're playing it, kind of video series. You can check that out, and that's. We did one for that. I was also provided this code from a PR rep for the game. It's just putting that out there. But Nuts is really cool. It's like it's one of those. It's an indie game. It's a very very small team, I believe. Like it straight up has just like nuts made on the main title screen of the game. It's like nuts made by, and it has like 3 names, and like that's kind of it. So I'm assuming
Nice.
I didn't go into the credits look specifically, but I'm assuming it's like a very small team of people who made this game. It has a really cool like look to it, like a really standout look, because it's very like it's basically all 2 colors. Like for like the whole scene, so you're a lot of the game is you're out in the woods. So it'd be like a lot of the like forestation will be kind of one color, and then like the backgrounds and stuff, or like the ground you're on will be a different color. It's a really nice, really like unique look to it, which I like, which I appreciate. But like the kind of the setup for it is it's like a first person kind of puzzle game where you're tracking squirrels in a forest. That's kind of like the premise, and like but they really get like invested into it. Like they try and kind of like make it in a very interesting way, because basically like it's not just like basically you have this camper at each of like the little zones. You kind of start out, and this lady over the phone, her name's Nina, kind of is your boss, and she's kind of giving you like the set of like your objective basically in an area, and you're getting fax. It's getting faxed to you, so you have like a fax machine in the little camper, and you pull out a piece of paper, and it'll just give you like you're like just holding the paper up, and it'll be like, hey, follow this squirrel's trail from here. And that's basically it. And then you have like a little GPS. Then you have like cameras that like state cameras on tripods that you're like setting up in different spots. So let's say she gives you your objective, you pull out your GPS, and you'll see the map of the area you're in, and then you'll see like a little X marks the spot, which shows like the tree that you kind of want to set up the cameras around to see where a squirrel goes. So you basically pull out your cameras. It depends on the mission. As you get further in, you get more. So like in the first mission, you might just have 1, and now like where I'm at in the game, I have 3. I'm probably like, it seems like a super short game, but it's like I probably like maybe put only like hour and a half, and I think I'm like, at least from the chapter selection screen, I'm like more than halfway through it in an hour and a half. So it seems super short, but it's really cool just from like this really basic premise and like one kind of thing. But yeah, basically you'll set up these cameras kind of around this spot that the GPS tells you to. And then once you do that, you go back to your little camper, and you have like a TV. You have TV set up, and when you sit down at the TV station, it then goes to nighttime. And then basically from those TVs in the setup, you're basically playing back what the cameras saw over the course of the day. So basically, when you hit play in the thing, you'll basically it'll just go down the track, and you'll basically just see the whole day play out, waiting to see when a squirrel comes out of this tree and then runs off somewhere. So basically, you're basically in a lot of cases, it's just like, hey, you're once you see where the direction the squirrel goes in, you go, okay, well, it went in that way, so now I need to set this camera here to see this angle and see that, until you eventually, like, kind of the end goal, at least for like some of the missions, is just like, hey, the squirrel has like a little like kind of like nest basically, or like where it keeps all of its stuff. So try and find out where it's going back to. So like basically you're kind of just tracking it down to that little area. And usually once you do that, then like when I did the first time, I moved on to a new area. So that's kind of like the basic version of that. Like they do get more elaborate. Like the one I'm on now actually is like which I stopped at, because I was like, wow, this is getting more elaborate than I thought it would. Well, it's because like you had 3 cameras. And the mission, my thing is now is like, hey, we know the trail the squirrel goes on, but we need you to catch it at these specific time points. So it's like catch the squirrel when it's at the 10-second mark in the video, catch the squirrel when it's at like the 30-second mark in the video. And I was just like, okay, geez, so that's cool. That's going to take a little time, but like again, it's a really cool, and I think like it also is trying, like on top of that, I think it's trying to give you that whole. It's trying to kind of also teach people of like, hey, industrialization and like losing nature is bad, and like there's some underlying stuff of that, of like like they kind of give you the baseline story of like, hey, we were told by this company to kind of survey the land because they wanted to like come in and like build this thing, but actually you're starting to slowly learn that maybe this company was like being shitty about it or something. I haven't gotten all the way through it. Like that's like, at least you kind of are getting like general just like that as you're going through it. So
Yeah.
It's cool though. It's like I said, it's on PC, it's on Nintendo Switch. I have a lot of fun with it. So you check it out.
That's cool.
If it
I
sounds
like
interesting.
puzzles where you get to like work backwards like that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool way to do it for sure. All right. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
Lay it on me, Mike.
Let me talk to you about this game.
I've so many things I want to know.
Yeah, boy. So,
are you disappointed? First question.
Yes and no.
Okay,
is where I'm kind of at, because like this game, it really does. Like, again, I obviously don't know the actual background, but it feels like they were willing to go all the way with what you know about what before Breath of the Wild happens. You know what happens from within the base game, and this game feels like they were willing to go there, and then somebody just went like, actually no, we don't want us to show these characters dying, so we'll do this, or you're gonna have to pull something else out and just do it. And it's like, okay, all right. And like, I don't hate what they did, because like it ultimately just still feels like it was just like a fun way to incorporate a bunch of other characters and make it like a fan servicey fun thing. But like
another meat though.
Yes, but at the same time, it's like, it's disappointing that they did not do the cool thing.
Yeah. Why not just make it that story?
Yes.
And it's just, it's time travel, right? They just, it's
spoilers. So yeah, I'll just lay it out here, because spoilers for Age of Calamity. Like,
I feel like everyone who is looking forward to it knows this already.
Yeah,
though, and that's why
totally. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like, I think when our last episode was when the demo came out, and we were talking, and we were pretty stoked for it. And then
this was our number one fear.
Yes,
from the demo.
Yes, it was the number one fear from our demo, and then the reviews came out and stuff, and people were basically just going like, what are they doing? And that's kind of like, that also didn't help our like need to go. But yeah, basically, yeah, spoilers. Basically, a lot of, at least from what I can tell, through a good chunk of that game, it plays out in a way that like I could see these events actually going down. But then they hit a point where basically like the Calamity is here. The Calamity does like a surprise attack on Hyrule Castle, where basically it's like, they go down, and like Zelda and Link are at the castle doing whatever. The champions are in their own places, like training with the divine beasts. And oh, hey, holy shit, the Calamity's just here. The fucking big Calamity, Ganon, ghost pig monster just swirls around Hyrule. Armies of things like attack the castle. So then it becomes like a escape. So you do this big mission that is pretty cool, because you're like escaping with Zelda from the Hyrule Castle. And then but then also at the same time that's happening, all of the blights from the bosses from original Breath of the Wild are attacking the four champions. So all this stuff basically happens like pretty much all at once. Like, it's just like a big surprise attack. Holy crap. So it's like, so you can see right from like the original Breath of the Wild, like, okay, this is probably where they actually like the actual Breath of the Wild events happened, of like they lost. Zelda and Link had to run off and survive and do the best they can until Link fought off and did that.
Yeah.
And then the champions lose. So literally you go through missions where you're going to the different places where the champions are. Like, it does them two at a time. So like basically you go into the place, the champions are fighting the blights inside the divine beasts. So you're basically like fighting through this big battlefield to get to one of the divine beasts that's in the stage. So you can help the boss out. But when you get there, guess what? The little robot buddy transported the new champions, quote unquote, basically the four characters that helped you in the current Breath of the Wild.
Oh wow!
To basically come and save the champion buddies. And then they become playable characters that you can now play as. And they are now also a part of the fight now.
So Sidone is one of these characters, right?
Yeah, you get to play as Sidon. He is one of the characters. So it's
now I have to play this game.
So it's Sidon for Mifa. It's Riju, like the young princess lady from the Gerudo clan. The Gerudo clan.
That's cool.
Cool. She's cool, but like unwieldy because she fights with one of those like surfing like walruses. Oh. So she flies around like crazy on the walrus, which is kind of silly. There's Yunbo, which is the Goron, who you do like the stealth mission in with the weird stealth mission that's in Breath of the Wild and the volcano. And then the other guy is oh god, what's his name? Teba, and he's like that white that white falcon guy who you do like the little archery mission with. So yeah, basically you get to the point where like you pretty much get to a point where like you see like a cutscene that are like the champion X is fighting the Blight and gets pushed back and is about to lose, and all of a sudden a portal opens up and the character just like swoops in and saves him, and you're just like, oh shit, you saved me. Who are you? What's going on? This is crazy. You know what I mean? It's straight up like that happens, and you're just like, okay, well sure, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So like that happens. And then I think like basically once that happens, they kind of just like, you know, everything has changed now. So now like a bunch of stuff does happen like after that, because I figured like that was the weird thing for me. This game is also kind of longer than I thought it would be. Like I'm like at like 25, 30 hours, I think, by the time I'm at this final mission.
That's why I was kind of like hesitant to jump
and I've
into
also,
it. It felt like it was going to be really long.
Yeah. And like, granted, I've also done a lot of the like side stuff, which I think is like worth doing, because like with those Muso games, like you do get like a lot of upgrades that like make the combat like better, because you get like more interesting combos, and like, you know, you get more upgrades, like more heart pieces and more like super bars to use your super attacks and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, basically that happens, and it was clearly like the point where like you're like if these people didn't show up and you fought back the Blights, that's clearly where the champions would have fallen. So you do that part, and then you do a mission after that, which like, again, this is like the whole crux of this game of like you get a lot of the moments that like I did want out of this game. Like there were some like legitimately cool moments that like I wanted as like a fan of Breath of the Wild, and like them to expand upon in this game. They do get to do some of that, but then it is with the caveat of like they just kind of made it fan servicey and weird with this time travel stuff. And like I've not seen the final mission, but I'm assuming the final mission is going to be some weird stuff again. Because also like, you know, there's another part after this where like there's an evil guy that's introduced in this game that I don't know if he's like gonna be any major factor in other Breath of the Wild, because he wasn't anywhere in the first game. He's just in this game, and like he's like clear like a servant of like he's like a servant / harbinger to like the calamity happening, and he's like has this big like relic that he carries around, and that's like he's like the guy who actually like summons in like the Blights and stuff by like harnessing like dark like calamity power or whatever the hell. But basically like up until the point where the future champions come in, that guy and the Yiga clan are like working together to like fight essentially and kind of bring on the calamity. And then by that point, like the dude just says like, hey, I'm using you, Yiga clan, like get fucked basically. And then the Yiga clan goes like, well, we're not gonna fight with you anymore then. And now they're on your side too now for whatever reason. So like you can play as like the Master Koga, like the dude you fight.
That's so great.
In Breath of the Wild, like they do weird stuff like that in the game. Like there's like a lot of weird like fan servicey characters that are like, some of them are optional. Like they don't have any involvement in the story. Like you can play as the weird future monks that are like in the shrines. Like you played the Breath of the Wild DLC, right?
I played most of it. I don't think I played all of it though.
Okay, well, spoilers, a little bit of spoilers for that. But at the end of the second DLC, with like the new shrines they introduce, and you get the unicycle, you get like the bicycle, the motor, like the horse motorcycle. That's basically like a whole thing of like you are going through like a guardian or like a champion kind of trial, and like the champion itself for Link is that horse, and at the end of it you fight like one of those monks that are like in the shrine, like when you go to the end of a shrine, there's like those monks that are like sitting there.
Yeah.
You fight
the Sheikah.
Yeah, you fight one, and he's like actually like crazy, and he like summons swords and throws them at you.
Sick.
And it's pretty crazy. Yeah, they made him a character in this game that you can play as. You can just unlock him, and he's like ridiculous and hilarious at the same time, because like his attacks are like just like random things from like Breath of the Wild shrines, like incorporated into two attacks. So like literally one of his attacks is he summons like a plate from underneath the ground and takes an orb, like the million billion Breath of the Wild puzzles where you like have like an orange orb and put it into a plate on the ground. It turns blue and brings a shrine up into the ground. That's like an attack he does. Like he like summons the plate with the orb in his hand, slam dunks it into that plate, and a shrine just like erupts out of the ground and like blows up a bunch of enemies. And it's just
That's great.
It's like it's just like, good lord, this is stupid but really good. So like that's like the weird double edge of this game of like they allow for like a bunch of that ridiculous like fan servicey over the top stuff to happen, but like kind of, and like let you see some cool moments from Breath of the Wild, but then like undercut it with like, yay, here's the happy ending, and not really anything else.
It's just, I guess it's counter to what the pitch of this game was to you as the audience, right?
Totally.
And to be fair, Nintendo being Nintendo didn't like outright say this is the canon thing, but like it was so implied that once that trailer dropped, like that was just immediately assumption.
Everyone just really assumed we were getting that.
And to be fair, maybe we should have known, because it didn't have a Legend of Zelda title on it, that it was still Hyrule Warriors.
It's still Hyrule Warriors, right? Yeah, it's totally that. But like, yeah, again, like there are like there are a lot of moments I do appreciate in the game that I enjoyed. Like you get to see, like, even from the baseline of like, you get to see kind of when Link and Rivali first meet, and you kind of learn why Rivali has animosity towards Link, which was cool to see.
Yeah.
You get to see like a lot of environments like in those 100 years ago, like states of like, holy,
like Castle Town.
Yeah, like
is pretty cool.
Yeah, you see some castle towns like that. Like you go to the Great Plateau, and it's just like, what the fuck? The Great Plateau look like this? It's like a big ass kingdom looking area, and it's like really cool. It's like really cool. There's like all kinds of buildings around the big tower, and it has like a big like stone entryway. Like you can, like, it's like clearly mapped out in a way that's like, wow, this is like cool. Like it doesn't look, it really, in some ways it doesn't even look anything like this, and that, which like kind of makes sense, because we're now 100 years into the future and everything's just ruined and grown over. So like it was cool to see like those places, some of those places like that, just like actually like built out. So yeah, and there's like a lot of good moments. Like you get to see Sidon as a very young kid, which is very cute. And there's a lot of cool stuff like that. But again, I still have like one, I'm pretty sure I'm on like the very last mission of it, which so I'm curious to see like what happens all there.
Yeah, I kind of want to know like if they really do kind of go off the rails like that. Then how the hell does it end? You know? Yeah,
totally. Because that's kind of where I'm at too. Because like it definitely in these last few missions, it's gotten weird with that.
Did you do because in one of the trailers they showed you piloting the Divine Beast? Have you done that already?
Yeah, there's actually a few of those, and like they're kind of, to be honest, they're kind of throwaway like side things.
They look completely throwaway.
Yeah, they kind of are. Like they're basically just like little side things of like, you're the big flying one, and you're just like, shooting lasers, and there's a bunch of guardians or whatever. Like, sometimes it's Hinoxes or Lionels on the ground, and you're just like blowing up huge waves of them, and it's silly. That you can find Koroks. There's Koroks there. They're like hidden in the levels.
Cool.
So that's back.
The nice thing is like Nintendo did kind of put this game right in the middle where like either way it could be successful, because like even though this isn't canon technically and what they've done with it, like we still know we're getting a Breath of the Wild 2. Like it's not like we're not going to get that thing that we want more than anything in the world.
Yeah,
right?
and in this game like makes me feel even more confident that like that game Breath of the Wild 2 is like not any way indicative of like this game, just because like they clearly very much show like in that even in Breath of the Wild 2 trailer that like they're it is the ruined Calamity struck in
we're dealing with it now.
Hyrule. it is we're
like there's so much intrigue to that. Like the entire royal family's dead. Like literally, Link and Zelda are the only people left alive from the castle. Everyone else is dead or scattered to the winds.
Yeah,
and the idea of rebuilding that whole world is more interesting still to me than a prequel. Not to say that this wasn't super exciting, but I think there's this isn't going to hurt Breath of the Wild 2 in any way.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think like in that respect, even though like I would have still preferred a game that that like kind of leaned more into like the prequel stuff that I wanted, it does let this game get away with like some ridiculous stuff like that, that crazy shrine man monk
dude,
man you can play as. You play as.
You know his name?
It's one of I forget his name because it's like one of those like it's like the thing where it's like a shrine name where it's like it's like something Tile apostrophe AI something like that, whatever. There's that, and then there's like some other characters like there's you can play as Hetsu in this game, the Maraca Korak guy.
Hell yeah,
he's a character you can just play as him, and he like shakes his maracas around, and then like every character has like a special kind of trigger like move on top of like their special attacks, and his is just summoning a bunch of Koroks to fight alongside him. So like he'll like summon like 10 Koroks next to him, and they'll like fly around and do stuff.
His name's Maz Koshia.
There it is.
Conduit of the goddess.
Yeah.
His picture is pretty great. It's just him just doing monk hands.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Looking like Zenyatta. Yeah, that's cool.
And there's like a bunch of silly stuff like that in there, but there's still like some fun moments. Like I said,
it's cool that they because I think the coolest thing about the OG Hyrule Warriors was that they were like, let's just get everybody in here. You want 12 links? We got 12 links. We got Wind Waker Link, we got Young Link, we got Majora's Mask Link.
Totally.
It's cool that they did try and mine deep into the Breath of the Wild kind of world to find all the characters that they could make playable.
And like you said, they went in that respect, like they made it fun, and like you can get all the outfits from Breath of the Wild and you can put them on Link. Link can use like swords and shields and like heavy two-handed like weapons, and they all play differently.
Spears and stuff, right?
Yeah, they all play differently, and he has like his own special moves for each of them, which are really cool. Zelda, again, we're talking about spoilers. You get in the demo, you played as that basic tablet power Zelda where she throws around stasis. At the end of the game, again, there's like once like this is when the Calamity is hit, and you have like you're helping her like go to the shrines to like try and she awakens and she gets like a whole new ability set, and it's like her with like light powers, and it's fucking cool as shit because she has like because she basically has like again, it's her like every character has like that kind of like right trigger ability where hers is literally she just like floats above the ground and starts praying and like charges up energy, and then when you do attacks at the sacrifice of like your special meters, she just like shoots light beams into the sky, and they just like rain, and just like you can just murder everything super fast, and it's ridiculous, and like it's like really cool. Like they just like completely turn her around and like make her OP as shit by the end of the game with like some of those light powers, which is cool.
It just ends with like you summon the counterpart champion for everyone else, and at the end it just summons like just another Link. It's just the same dude, but and they're like the same, but it's like I'm Link from the future. It's like,
what up?
He shows up. He's like, hey, I'm Link. It's like, whoa, he's talking.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck? They're wearing the same thing and everything, and it's like, I'm the same Link. Here I am.
Two is better than one, bro. Let's go.
Yeah, let's fucking go. Let's fucking murder this guy.
Puts on his shades.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna beat it for sure. I just didn't have. I got very close, and it was like I thought I had the time to beat it, but then it was like, well, this game is way longer than I thought.
It's good to hear that there is some cool stuff in there.
Yeah, there's definitely some moments I appreciated of like, this is clearly like they maybe were like learned of a lot of moments and then like were guided from like Nintendo in that regard, but also guided in Nintendo regard of like, yeah, we don't want to watch, yeah, we're not gonna let you just murder our characters in your video game, sorry.
They did it themselves.
Yeah, I know, right? I think that's exactly what it is. That's like
to be fair, watching
Nintendo
like
will let them
get murked would be rough.
Yeah, like Nintendo will let that happen in their game, but not like seeing them directly just die. I think is what they would.
Yeah,
I could see that being like the caveat of like, yeah, we're not gonna let you just like murder our characters for us in this game, and you just have to do this weird time travel shit, and it's like, all right, or maybe just like they had to find a workaround about it or whatever. Sure. I'm not sure, but again, like I think overall, I do like a lot of, I have, if we had moments or like a, you know, coming off of Game of the Year, so I still have that on the mind, but if we had some moments of the year, I still would have like brought some moments from this game.
Sure.
And that's to like celebrate in that category, because I think like those, like a lot of those moments were cool to like see from like, oh yeah, like here I am in this place 100 years earlier, and here it is like thriving, or like here's, you know, like seeing these characters interact and in a way I haven't seen yet was cool.
Yeah, that's I think where that game can shine too, is like in its best moments.
Yeah, but yeah, the whole the time traveling stuff is weird. It's like, I think like from a gameplay perspective, like the characters are fun, but like it was weird to see that, and like it kind of just happens and they save him from that moment, and then like it's always, it doesn't matter, like, which is also weird because they kind of like quickly move on from that in some weird ways, because like you have that mission, you have the missions where you save them and the champions come back from time, then you have that mission where Zelda gets her light powers, and then they just go on to keep fighting stuff, and then, oh yeah, the Yiga clan are fighting with you now or something weird, and it's just like it feels very like they just like quickly just like, we're like, oh yeah, we can't do that, all right, we have to quickly just throw together stuff, here's these champions, here's the Zelda powers, yeah, let's go. It's like it kind of feels a little bit like that, like they just like the game had like a build up to that moment, and then just like went off the rails when they hit that moment, because they couldn't really do that moment and finish it there.
I keep thinking about like Teba's like son and wife that he had, like, that are a big part of his story in Breath of the Wild. Like, right. I guess I'll just leave my family forever to the past.
Yeah, the princess who's like a kingdom, who's like ruling a kingdom, just be like, all right, see ya. I'm gonna go back in time and fight some dudes, and hopefully that helps. Even like, though I'm coming from an already ruined timeline, I don't know.
It's like Endgame. Steve Rogers is gonna put them all right back where they left. At the end.
Yeah.
God, what a great post-credit scene that would be.
Yeah, that would be really funny. Yeah, just old Captain America just showing up, just being like, "Here you go, back to your Sand Kingdom, young lady."
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, Age of Calamity. Yeah, I think I've laid it all out, my feelings, because that was a lot, but it was needed.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear about it. Glad I've been so curious.
Glad I played it for sure.
Good. I played a couple of things, nothing crazy fun or interesting. But I'm trying to think. I think the last episode we did was in October, so I don't know if I had 100% cleared Hades yet. Wow. But I've now 100% cleared Hades.
Nice.
Not like 100%, like, but I got like the true ending. There's the 10 beats is like the ending. 10 victories is the credits, but there's like an epilogue ending that happens after that, that you can get to if you, I think it's based on like your relationship level with all of the gods and kind of where they're at. I'm not really sure what the parameters for it are, but then essentially you have to like send a thing to all of you have to interact with every single character that you can interact with, and it'll lead to your epilogue essentially, which is cool because there's like, you know, this whole concept art thing where you get to see all the characters together in a cool way. But I also kept playing past that point. It's been really the main thing I've been playing on Switch, just a run here or there. to get all of the weapons. I finally got the last form of the Exegriff, which was the last weapon I needed. The aspect of
Nice.
Lucifer, which is it's cool. It just makes the Exegriff fire a laser beam,
Oh, nice.
just a constant
Yeah,
laser.
big laser.
And I forget what the special on it does. I think it makes some modifier to the laser beam that makes it do more damage. But all of those final forms for the weapons are very different and very, very cool. I don't know if you've unlocked any of them with what you played, Mike.
No, I Hades is one I keep wanting to get back to, but I just haven't been playing some other games and other roguelites really too. So it's like I need.
You kind of have to warm up to it also.
Yeah.
Like you need to take a couple of runs, and it's my one thing with Hades. And it's not as bad as some other games, but like the runs are on the longer side, right? If you're really trying to get to the end, it's
yeah.
For me, in the days before, like I've beaten it in my fastest time is 15 minutes now, which is very fast. But the average, I would say, beforehand of like just doing everything and getting to the end was like 40 to 50 to 60 minutes,
right?
Which is a little longer, right? And it some areas are longer than others, but the favorite one that I have is the sword. That's the aspect of Arthur, and it turns the sword into Excalibur. And that one, it just baseline gives you plus 50 health, which is great. But it changes the special for for the sword. Instead of like putting a shockwave down, you put an energy field out. It's like a blue crest, like a magic seal around you, and when you're in the field, you take less damage. And then outside of that, the weapon just functions like a two-handed, like heavy sword as opposed to like the regular sword. So all the animations are slower, but it does way, way, way more damage. That's just a really fun, like, get in the mix and mix it up, because it's a super slow sword that does like 4 times base damage. Like each hit is like 160 damage, like flat, before you get any upgrades. So if you get that, and there's a special for all the 4th tier, all the kind of unlockable new versions of the weapons, there is like a special Hephaestus hammer upgrade for them. So the kind of upgrades that give you a new weapon ability or something like that. There's a special one for each 4th aspect, the kind of new form, and the one for Excalibur makes it so that you take even less damage when you're in the field, and it makes the field 30% bigger. So you throw down, you hit the special button, and it just makes this huge ring around you that you take less damage in. On top of having way more damage, and on top of having 50 base health. So if you get the right kind of set of perks with that, it just is it's horrible. I've done like I think the highest I did is 14 heat with that, because it scales so well once you start getting higher and higher. Because if you get like Hermes is faster attack, with it basically counteracts the slow attack, and then you're just destroying things very quickly. There's I wanted to see kind of like where the weapons and everything lead to. The thing that when I'm playing through it now, I have 3 characters that I don't have max hearts on, and I'm just trying to basically get all because you get like a little icon on their item that they give you if you get max hearts with them. So like my items that I have for all the characters, they're almost all filled out and complete, but except for a couple. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, and it sounds like that game gets like, because I think that's like the point where I'm at of like I just need to beat Hades. Like I've gotten to him a couple times, and then like you said, it's just those wrong. Like once you get to that point, like the runs become pretty long, and like you don't really have a lot of those like different aspects of and different like weapons. And like like way more like combo potentials with like that kind of stuff. And I feel like that's the thing that really helps that become a game where you're like running over and over and over again really more quickly, which is cool.
And it, like the nice thing, and it's just one of the many great things about Hades, is like you don't need like those things aren't determined on completion. It's just like the aspects are things that you will there you'll get them from other characters, right? Like
Mhm.
eventually, if you have your relationship at a point, or if you've used a weapon enough, a character will be like, "Hey, you're using this weapon. You know, when you return to the seal where you get the weapon, speak this phrase in front of it, and that's how you unlock the new aspects, right?" So like Nyx tells you the one for the sword that turns it into Excalibur, for example.
That's
So
cool.
so yeah, it's a thing that's just one of the many things that you could bits of dialogue that you could run in throughout any given run. And what I like is there aren't necessarily specific triggers on it, but they are paying attention. Like the one of the patch notes that I saw for, and they haven't patched that game that many times since it came out, but one of them was like made it slightly easier for the exegriff aspects to be unlocked, and that
Mhm.
the run I'd been doing runs over and over again just trying to get that for hours, and that's when I kind of stopped playing Hades. So when I came back to it, first run I did, I got exactly what I needed. It's like, all right, finally I've got all the
Nice.
guns now. But yeah, it's like I have there's the little list of side quests that you can do, like the scroll of prophecies. I have like 5 left for that, and there's like 40 of them. So I'm gonna see if over time I can slowly check those last boxes, and then maybe max out some of the items. Once you get to like the really end game stuff, it's like takes 8 of the not the base, not the nectar, but the ambrosia, the super nice, like that you can only use for characters to get them like their final hearts. Like it's like this item requires 8 ambrosia to upgrade. It's like, Jesus, all right. It's heat to level 20, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Sheesh.
it's, I've been playing with God mode turned on, right? And that's at like 58% damage reduction, which is, mostly because I've been playing so much. At that point, it's not impossible. It's just pretty hard, and it's cool how the difficulty scales up with you with that.
Yeah, that's cool. I might try that once I get back into it.
Yeah, I would say like I've my experience with the game was like I thought it was fine until I beat it the first time, and that's when I honestly really started to like it, let alone dozens and dozens of hours later actually love it. Right, it was a slow burn for me, and to be fair, like I was enjoying, it's not like it was a slog or anything,
Mhm.
but it just got better and better the more I understood it, the more I could think of like different combos for um the perks and abilities that you get. So yeah, it gets better the more you play it.
Very cool. Anything else you've been playing?
I wrote down Smash here just to mention, that we played it. I
Heck
also
yeah.
just been picking it up kind of casually a little bit more. I've gotten back into the habit of playing like a little bit of video games in bed before I finally go to sleep. And like a
Mhm.
little classic mode run is like really great for that. It's usually like 15 minutes. But yeah, Sephiroth is really great. He's a very weird character, which I
Yeah,
appreciate.
it's a
It's
weird class canon character.
yeah, and like it's cool to have. There's not that many Smash characters like that, and it makes sense for Sephiroth like being a. It's just when you're playing him, it's a little deceptive because like I anticipated him to be more of a like a medium or heavyweight, and he's a lightweight character, but obviously he has a lot of reach, horizontal reach specifically. He doesn't like
Right.
have necessarily a lot of like angular reach in the top left or top right direction, but obviously vertical as well. Yeah, he's a cool character. I just blown away. The only character that they've put in there that I didn't really like was Steve, but uh, of the DLC characters, I even like Byleth. I think there's some really cool stuff that they can do. So I'm it's very gratifying for me. Urges is finally back from the grave. The PS1 classic.
Finally.
Uh, yeah,
God
but no,
bless the
he's
ring.
God bless, God bless the ring. That was the best title for any stream we've ever done. Yeah, he's great. I'm a big fan of Sephiroth, and it especially like his little classic mode campaign is a boss rush, which is just great.
Very cool. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with them as well. Like you said, he was a pretty surprising addition to that game. No one expected it. He's he's fun to play too. I really appreciate. I like that stage. Sakurai just like spoiling all of Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
basically
like
the entire
honestly,
ending of Final Fantasy. It's
so
like
funny too. Like the remake just happened.
Big flex.
Which makes me think that Sakurai was like, "Hey, is this cool?" And they were like, "Oh, that new shit's not gonna end."
They're just like whatever. they're gonna be.
This is for the '90s nerds. Like this shit isn't gonna come back.
They're gonna be crossing over with Kingdom Hearts at some point. By that point,
yeah, you're gonna be fighting Yuzora probably by the end of Final Fantasy VII remake or something. So,
awesome. But I think we'll take a quick break here, and then we're gonna make some predictions, bets for what we hope to see in 2020, 2021 for Nintendo. We're not going back. I promise. We're not going back to 2020.
No going back. No going back.
We'll be right back.
はい、ゲームボーイ。アメリカで人気抜群のアクションソフトメトロイド2を紹介しよう。あのメトロイドがぐーんとパワーアップしてアイテム充実、敵キャラだって最高にエキサイティング。ゲームボーイソフトメトロイド2。メトロイドオモロイド。
ウキウキノリのいい乗り物選んで怪物倒してリリーのレーシング。ウキウキレースアドベンチャー振動パック対応。任天堂64ソフトリリーコングレーシング。
Alright everyone, we're back. And I'm illuminated.
Yeah. Let there be light.
Let there be light and let there be bets.
So here's what I want to know, Mike.
Okay. Yes.
I want to talk about the possibilities, and then I want to talk about reality.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about the anniversaries and stuff, and that all makes sense. But I want to know, what do you think the likelihood that we're going to see a handful of games this year? I'm going to tell you in a moment. And if we do hear them, when would you bet we would hear about them in the year? And I prefer like a month, like we don't have to get to a date or anything, but as opposed to like, oh, that'd probably be talked about over the summer or something. Like, is that going to be their June thing, or is this going to be their E3 moment? Lord knows how any of that's going to work this year.
Not at all.
Not at all. Obviously, no E3, but like, are we going to do the summer of E3 like we did last year? Who knows?
The chaos. Yeah.
So the first big one, and you've got this written down here, but Bayonetta 3, is it time?
I feel like I say it every year in hopes that it is the time. So in that tradition, I'm just gonna go yes. It is time.
It's been what?
3
years?
Yeah,
4 years.
Yeah, it's been 3 years, I think. Because
it was Game Awards 2017, right?
That sounds correct.
I think that's right, because it was the year the Switch came out.
Yeah,
and
right.
that would have been 7 months after, and that would have been the same Game Awards that they announced the Hyrule Warriors, the Breath of the Wild DLC. They shadow dropped the second part of that.
Right.
I think that's right. Obviously, we could fact check that, but the only other option would be 2018. So I think that's right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right, because I think 2018 is when they showed Joker as DLC.
Yeah, you're right. So
not that same year. They weren't both the same year.
I mean, there is the mysterious new point in the Platinum 4 website. Did you hear about this?
No.
You remember the Platinum 5?
Yeah,
the Platinum 5.
No, I think it was the Platinum 4.
Yeah, but then they made a fifth one. They like did another one.
Oh.
But it was like 4 little stars, right? And they all had dates and everything back in the day. They've quietly, over the last, I don't know when they did it. I just saw someone talking about it. They quietly added a new one that is question 2021. So, and it's little.
Okay.
Let me see if I can pull it up. But that's the only indication that maybe that's Bayonetta, but like Platinum also has their their hands in so many things at any given time.
Yeah, right.
I just don't. I wonder.
Yeah, because they have like a bunch of games in the pipeline now at this point, and there's always like those random like license things they sometimes do that are like questionable, but they probably got to pay some bills, so they end up happening. So yeah, like
yes, there is a Platinum 5th on their website, and it just says coming soon.
Interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, it says xx.xx.2021 on the Platinum 4 website. And to be fair, people thought that the Platinum 4 was leading into Bayonetta, and it didn't. And people were really upset about that.
Yep.
But so maybe this is them trying to make good on that. But that also doesn't necessarily mean it's coming. Bayonetta would come out this year.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, it's hard to really say because like we don't really have any other dates for any of their other games, so we don't really know where they're at either. And like we don't know, like, granted they announced Bayonetta then, but who knows when they maybe like really started getting into production for it. I feel like that was never really out there. So it's like, so it's difficult to say, but like. But again, so it's like it always feels like when as like like you said, it was like almost 4 years ago. Like it's got to be soon.
It's got to be sometime, right?
Yeah.
And take your time with it, let it cook. But if you were a betting man, when and if will they say something about Bayonetta? And if they do, when this year do you think they would?
Honestly, I really think we're on the precipice of a big Nintendo Direct. They're gonna bring it.
Yeah,
they're gonna like. We didn't really get one last year, like for obvious reasons. But I feel like we've hit that precipice where, like, I think they weren't really holding one up their sleeves. I don't think that was the case. I just think they have now gotten, I think they have now settled, hopefully. Or I know, at least, like, I know in some regards the Japanese side, which are ultimately a lot of the people making the decisions, I think are kind of back in working order compared to like here in the US where we're still locked down COVID world. So I think like something is cooking, and I think we're just gonna get like a Direct. I would say as soon as February or
as late as March.
Late as March. And it's just going to be like a big dump of like, hey, here's Bayonetta updates, here's maybe even Breath of the Wild 2 updates, here's like, they got to like start giving us that big like that big info dump, really. And like I don't see them doing like a drip feed Twitter thing again for like some of those bigger games. I or like at worst, I think they're gonna do like game specific directs and just be like, here's everything laid out for you about this game in a single direct. Like it'll either be like one big direct with everything, or they'll do like individual directs for their really big games, which I think Bayonetta 3 is worthy of at this point.
My thinking, I'm with you. I definitely feel like Nintendo is like laughingly been like, let's just wait for their hope to be gone.
Yeah.
And give it to them when they least expect it.
It's crushed.
Because of course that's the Nintendo way. But I feel like we're close to one for sure, but I don't know if Bayonetta 3 is going to be in that. We'll see. Mm-hmm. I feel like we'll hear about Bayonetta 3 this year. But if I had to guess, I'd honestly say we won't hear about it until like December. And we will hear about it in the capacity that we will know it's coming out early next year. Like we'll have a day. I'm guessing February.
February next year? Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like, one, that's a game that pairs with Valentine's Day very well. Just in a very funny way.
Yes, dominatrix and hair demons. Totally. I see it.
And I know Kamiya would go for that for sure. And two, that's a game that, even though the kind of fall holiday window is now, we know, not limited, the only time games can be successful, certainly. I feel like that is a game that would thrive in the winter, like early winter of the year, and would, like February is like a perfect, or January is a perfect time for that game to come out. So that's my thinking. I feel like we will hear about it this year, very late in the year, and we will hear about it to the point where we will know when we hear about it. It'll be like the first time we're really seeing it, and we're gonna know exactly when it's coming out afterwards, because Nintendo's been way into that.
Right.
All right. So I'm trying to stay away from like the Twilight Princess or like that stuff. We'll talk about a bit.
Sure.
The you talked about Pokemon. The Pokemon this year. When will we hear about it, and what Pokemon game is it going to be?
We're going to hear about it at the day of the 25th anniversary. It's
okay, February 27th.
February 27th is the actual 25th anniversary of Pokemon. And I think they're going to have, like, I'm pretty sure they have announced, even when it's not been the actual big anniversary like that, they have named that Pokemon Day. I'm fairly certain that's Pokemon Day, and they announce big games. Like, that's when they announced Sword and Shield around that time. They announced, I'm pretty sure last year they announced, like, I don't think they announced a big game, but they announced like a bunch of smaller games last year. Like, that's when they did like here's the weird Pokemon MOBA and the Pokemon Sleep and whatever, like that weird stuff. I'm pretty sure that was all around that time frame. So I think, like, probably, maybe even if it's not the exact day, like, I think that literally, like, that the week of that date, we'll get a Pokemon Direct, and we're gonna see, like, whatever. I think it's gonna be Gen 4. It's gonna be a Gen 4 remake.
Diamond Pearl, that's Gen 4, right?
Yeah, Diamond and Pearl remakes.
Side bet here, so a little side sway.
Okay, yep. Okay.
Will Pokemon Sleep ever come out?
Did it not come out? Oh God! Hold on. I need to look at that. I need to look.
Primo, maybe it did come out, but that to me reads exactly like Vitality Sensor of like this. They said this and they did not know what they were saying.
You're totally right.
Yeah, they fucking conned us. Remember?
Yeah.
Twitter was on fire for a whole day because of that game.
Yeah.
That game's never coming. That game's not real.
Yeah, it's still they still haven't even updated it to like 2021 or anything. It just says,
of course not.
I just updated, it just says Pokemon. I searched Pokemon Sleep and it still says 2020 on it.
Pokemon Sleep, where you sleep and then you can check your phone and it'll show you dreams of a world where a pandemic never happened.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can totally never.
Yeah. Pokemon Sleep,
you can sleep forever. Pokemon just keep sleeping. And
Pokemon never wake up. Okay. Diamond and Pearl remakes. That's cool. That's like my least favorite generation. Just because, to be fair, like that was the last one before they started like speeding up the games a little bit, making them a little bit faster. It's Black and White is kind of where that starts.
Yeah, they started being like, yeah, why do we keep doing HMs, y'all?
Yeah.
Somebody finally said that, and then they were like, oh yeah, you're right. Let's
maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not as many, at least. Maybe like we don't need Surf, Tidal Wave, and Dive.
Yes, yes.
Or Surf, Whirlpool, and
3 water ones, and like three either moving boulders or cutting things or illuminating things. And you're just like, we don't really need all this, y'all. And I think they clearly see that because like all of it's non-existent now in the games.
Yeah, so I
like,
mean,
I'd be curious to see a game without all that for sure.
Sure, like a Diamond and Pearl without HMs would be really cool to see, honestly. And you know, like HMs are cool in how they kind of Metroidvania Pokemon, but like they're also not cool for an infinite number of reasons. Yeah. So yeah, I'd be curious to see about that. When do you think those remakes would end up coming out?
I would say the Pokemon games usually drop at the end of the year, so I'd probably say like November would be my guess. But I think we might still get one other big Pokemon game. Like I kind of saw this rumor, which would honestly I think would be like, this would be super weird if they did it. But I saw like somebody's having an idea for the 25th anniversary of doing like a Pokemon like collection game on Switch, where basically like one game was like, basically if you bought one cart, it would be like red, Pokemon Red, Pokemon Gold, and like Pokemon Ruby, and then another one would be like Pokemon Silver, Pokemon like Sapphire and Blue
Sapphire,
or whatever. And I was just like, I don't know about if they would do that. I feel like they would just release all those digitally on Switch. Like I feel like that's the better move.
They would never bundle them. I just never see them doing that.
That was my same feeling of like, one, that'd be super weird to do a physical release like that, and two, I think they would just put them. I feel like they would just be like, here's Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, and maybe like Gold, Silver, Crystal on Switch. Like maybe earlier in the year, like maybe when the 25th anniversary happens, they're just like, here's those classic games, and then later this year we'll have maybe some Game Boy games, because we haven't seen Game Boy games on Switch, so that would be kind of weird. So I don't know if they would go that far with them, but I could see them doing like Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal on Switch.
Yeah, that was another Pokemon Day announcement I remember, was when Red, Blue, and maybe Yellow at the same time came to the 3DS like eShop. I remember that. That was probably the first Pokemon Day announcement I saw.
Totally.
And like, honest to God, I'm getting new Pokemon Snap. So this
totally.
is gonna be the best
It's
year
like,
for Pokemon for me.
Getting new Pokemon
personally.
Snap, like there'll probably be other like outside of video game Pokemon stuff, and like some stuff you probably won't care about. There'll probably be like a bunch of Pokemon Go crap that like we probably won't care about, but like some people will be really stoked for.
And they did a new mystery dungeon game last year, so we could see another.
There might be
cool little
maybe
game.
like they did announce like a new Detective Pikachu game for Switch a while ago, so maybe we finally see what that game is this year. So like I just think in general we're gonna see a lot of Pokemon this year on the Switch. Like hands down. I think there's gonna be at least a couple, like the least, like I think like at least like two more major like boxed releases will be my guess. So like another maybe smaller game besides Pokemon Snap. So new Pokemon Snap, maybe that new Detective Pikachu game, and then like a full RPG Pokemon at the end of the year. And then maybe we get like smaller, like digital, like here's like the older games digitally on Switch.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be my guess.
I hope, man, it would be great to have Heart Gold and Soul Silver on Switch. That would be really great for me, because I've not played this. This is because we're going to talk about Metroid anniversary wise in a little bit, but talking about Metroid Prime 4 specifically, no, I don't think so either.
No,
that game just needs all the time it needs.
Yeah. That's like I would love any literal morsel, or like literal. They could literally just like give me like one of those hamster drips of like here's like Samus's new helmet, and I'd be like but like totally. No, I still think that
they're still hiring for that game to some capacity, it sounds like. And
I think I saw like it was like not even like a month or two ago where it's like, hey, Retro Studios is hiring for like a boss designer, and it's like, okay, yeah,
they're probably in development pretty hardcore, but they're not done yet.
Nowhere near.
And my takeaway from like everything that Nintendo did with the announcement of like, hey, we had to cancel what is made and we're bringing in retro, and they're gonna make the game now. Them doing that, I think the lesson that they learned was like, we can't rush this. We're not gonna figure this out. Then we need to let you guys take the time, and they got that Animal Crossing money, so I'm assuming that they can take all the time that they want. I don't think so either. Here's a little curveball for you. Super Mario Odyssey 2. Yay, nay?
No. Just
Okay.
because I think 3D Worlds this year. I could see. I think we might get like a Mario game, but I think it'll be like a Mario spin-off game. Like I could see us getting like another, like either like another Mario sports game, or another like Mario, like maybe Super Mario Party 2. I could see something like that happening this year, but I don't see like another big 3D Mario happening. Honestly, like my true dream of dreams would be a new Mario Kart. Like I'd be more
talked about this,
I'd be more stoked for that than like even like a new 3D, like main 3D Mario, like an Odyssey 2 or some Galaxy or whatever new Mario 3D thing they did. Like I'd be way more stoked for that. Like Mario Kart 9 or
let the Mario Kart 8 team make Nintendo Kart.
Yeah, that too.
And I only like whatever, like not everything needs to be a crossover game. Mario Kart is fine as it is. I only say that I would only really, really want that because look at the guest levels that they made in 8. In
yeah,
8.
They're super
and
cool.
listen to the music. Like, are you kidding? Like imagine a Metroid jazzy Mario Kart level. Like,
totally. Like, or just like,
me up.
Yeah, like I definitely would hope they took that stuff to heart and seeing how much people really liked those crossovers. And like, I still think they could make a thing that's called like Mario Kart 9, but it still has all that crossover stuff, right? Like it doesn't,
Yeah.
I ultimately think it would not make a difference if it was called Super Smash Kart or like Nintendo Kart, or if it was just called Mario Kart 9, you know what I mean? Like, but I agree with the concept of like, I feel like they should just have like make the Donkey Kong stages way more Donkey Kong like, because they've had that in the past, or like make like even like something like, you know, here's like a Yoshi stage, but it's like a crafted Yoshi stage or something like that. Like even stuff like that would be super cool from a crossover perspective. Like here's like a Pinkman stage, which would be cool. Like
Kirby stage,
Kirby,
like Kirby
or you know,
Kirby
like, you know,
obviously adapts to a cart so well with his little flying star.
Totally. And they already made like the kind of more general Zelda stage, but I could see them just making like a Breath of the Wild stage basically now at this point. Like, why not? Like,
totally,
that'd be cool.
The last one that I got for you are there any Wii U ports left?
Star Fox Zero, baby.
I was gonna say, is Star Fox Zero gonna make the jump?
Star Fox Zero making the jump. Star Fox, no, then they'll call it Star Fox 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say Star Fox U, but it's on the Switch. Like, God damn it! What did you learn? Yeah, I don't know. It's Star Fox Zero, and then like the Zelda HD ports. We'll talk about
Xenoblade Chronicles X, I think is one. Is that right? I think.
Yeah, totally.
Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival.
Oh,
plus Island or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I guess like Star Fox Zero. I don't know. It could. It would work on
at
Switch,
this point, I don't think it would happen because wasn't that also like Platinum was helping with that? I think.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think at this point it probably isn't a thing because they're doing like 80 other games right now or something.
Yeah, they could have a port house do it, but then
true.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's one that
I'd rather at this point
care about a lot. So
at this point, I'd rather them like just be like, all right, we got all the things we needed off of Wii U. Like they did the thing everybody wanted from ports and are putting freaking Mario 3D World on Switch. So like I feel like they have checked the box of like we did the work and put all the Wii U games you would want on Switch. I think at this point it's just like
it's the Zelda remasters. Those are the big ones, I think.
Yeah, the Zelda remaster would be cool, and I think that goes into the like I would like to see them continue with that idea of bringing stuff, but like bringing stuff from like even like maybe their handhelds.
Yes.
Like, you know, bringing like, you know, maybe doing Zelda Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask on Switch would be cool. And like I get it. Like some people liked them on the 3DS because of the utility of like having the bottom screen stuff, but like, hey, those classic games had them on there too, and they were still some of the best games ever. So like, I think it'd still be fine to just
it would be fine
to go into a menu and like I know, and like I think even in the modern ones they had like quick switching stuff like added later in. Didn't they like
Skyward Sword that you have like a weapon wheel pretty much that you can motion
and I think even in like the HD like Wind Waker, wasn't there like a quick way to like switch weapons or something
with the screen on your Wii U gamepad? So it was basically a DS screen. So
got it. Okay, I thought there was like something else, like you could just like hit buttons and it would do like a hot switch or something. Maybe I misremembered.
I played that game with a Pro controller on the Wii U, so it essentially functions as it did before. You pause the game and equip items. So if you have the gamepad, you can.
Yeah, I remember that.
Inventory is there.
You could you could drag and drop them and whatever.
Yeah. So.
Like
cool. Those are the ones that I wanted to ask about, but we also have the anniversaries to talk about.
Yeah, I pulled some anniversaries, which we already talked about. We already talked about the Pokemon one a lot, but like next month is like I think going to be like the big month because it's February 27th is the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, and the 21st February 21st is the 35th anniversary of Zelda. So like I think we are going to get a lot of info with that stuff next month of like, you know, I think they did Mario up a lot. And considering how big Zelda has become for them even in these more recent years of like Breath of the Wild and stuff. Like I think they will not they will not let that go by the wayside and like do more stuff, considering like I think even though like there was that weird limited time Mario 3D All-Stars port, like even though people don't like that limited time availability, like it still was like one of the better selling video games of 2020 period. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
all fun ends on my birthday. That's what you just gotta remember. The fiscal year
March
ends
31st.
March 31st.
March 31st.
No more fun.
Yeah, March 31st. Mario fucking dies. So no more games.
For real this time.
Yeah, no Mario Odyssey 2. That's it. You're gonna get that 3D All-Star Collection. You're gonna get 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. You're gonna like it. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's over.
Yeah, I know this is the one, right? Like Nintendo really did it up for their Zelda's 25th anniversary.
Right.
And that was the Skyward Sword year that had that's when the Hyrule Historia came out. That's when you had the whole little 25th thing that opens up every time you boot up Skyward Sword. So I don't know. So to me, that tells me that they probably want Breath of the Wild 2 to come out this year. And to be fair, like, you know, that game was announced in what, 2018, right? Or 2019?
2018 sounds right.
Because
that was like the last time there was an E3, really. Because I don't think there was like an E3. Was there an E3? Wasn't
there's an E3 in 2019?
Yeah, they didn't.
It wasn't in 2020.
Yeah, right.
There was no Sony at E3 in 2019.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, you're right.
And I think it might have been 2019.
So
it's been a couple years, right? And presumably that game started development as soon as they finished Breath of the Wild 1.
Yeah,
Maybe
and like
they had a break,
you know, I think some people have like a little bit of an animosity towards this idea, but like in that trailer they straight up just showed the Hyrule that was in original Breath of the Wild. So I feel like they're probably just gonna reuse a lot of that map in some capacity, which like, I'm not fully against, because like, you know, that world is so massive, and the complaint that people had was like, this map's empty, blah. Like what, even that's not true. But in that same respect, like I feel like there's still a lot more they can do in that world.
I know like Nintendo wouldn't make a game like this without like really like that map is going to be full of tons of new shit, tons of changes, and plus, and we've speculated on it before, like there's certainly going to be a second map, whether that's an underworld or a dark world or whatever, or the moon, who knows, maybe the Hyrule Castle lifts up and goes to the moon, or whatever it is,
or you're like shifting parts of the map into like a different like reality or some other. There's, like you said, there's going to be some way that they like, even if you're on that same map, they're going to do something significant to ultimately make it feel like a completely different space.
Yeah, but that gives them the canvas to build off of a lot faster. So it's not unreasonable to think that game could come out this year. But, you know, my feeling is Nintendo is going to tell us about that game when it is very close. So either we will hear about it soon, and then we'll at least know if it's going to be soon or this year, or we won't hear about it, and then we just have to assume it's not this year.
Yeah, totally. Like I think we will at least, at most hear a lot more about that game this year, considering we have that anniversary coming pretty soon, and like I think we're going to get some kind of announcement with it. Maybe it's not like going to be like a full-on collection like Mario got, or maybe it's just going to be maybe we'll get one really interesting game, like they'll remake another old Zelda Game Boy game, or something like that,
Lord willing.
Seasons. Yeah, that'd be cool. But I definitely think we're going to get, if we do not get Breath of the Wild 2 this year, I think we will get another bigger Zelda game besides just like here's some ports. I just don't think we're gonna get like a port of some kind. Like I think we'll get.
Yeah, I mean,
else.
do you think that they would do a collection for Zelda? They've only ever done it the one time, and it's the GameCube disc you have to murder a member of your family to get.
I mean I'd be open to that just because they could totally kind of pull that again of like here is like Zelda Master Quest, but on Switch, and it's like here's
Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD, and then the maybe the 3DS ports of
like I could just
Ocarina and Majora's Mask.
Yeah, I could even just see it still being just like here's an HD like slightly updated versions of Ocarina and Majora on Switch, and then maybe those other two games in some shape or form. I don't know.
If I were to take a shot in the dark, right? I see two possibilities, in which one is Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna hit this year, and maybe it's sooner than we think. Who knows? Like that could be a summer game, you know.
They shadow drop it on the 35th anniversary. What the fuck?
That would be, and people wouldn't be ready for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would.
It'd be cool just because it is so close to the 3-year anniversary of Breath of the Wild or 4-year anniversary of Breath of the Wild coming out.
Right.
But God, 4 years, Jesus Christ. Just sorry, it's the endless epitome of time.
You're just like, fuck.
So if they manage to get Breath of the Wild 2 out this year, I could see them getting the some level of at least Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD out, because those games will sell and they'll make so much money off of that on Switch. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and they're relatively easy to port because they were just on Wii U.
Yeah, so. and they don't have any motion bullshit, none of the caveats that you got to think about. I don't think Skyward Sword is ever going to come to Switch. People are crazy. That game is completely based on motion controls. It'll never ever be on anything but the Wii. It's my opinion, which is a bummer. If they redid or overhauled that game in some way, sure, but then it's not Skyward Sword. It's just a different game that's way less interesting. Even if it's better, it's not as interesting.
Right.
So I would say those two games and Breath of the Wild 2, or kind of part of me maybe hopes this. I could see, because it's an anniversary year, they could do a full-on Ocarina of Time remake, which I would be really into.
Yeah,
just
that'd be
like
cool.
They saw the guy that made the Ocarina of Time cutscene in Unreal Engine 4, and they're like, what if we just got this guy and let him make this game?
Yeah, what if he just took the generic assets that you get from downloading Unity for free, and what if we just had him make a game? Like, but you're right. It's I definitely think we're getting, if like you said, if we do not get Breath of the Wild 2, which obviously I think if it did get this year, it'd be like their big holiday game. Later this year. I think we would just get some other, like we would either get like a collection of ports, or like an entirely new game, like a new smaller game, or like a remake.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I think but I think we don't have to wait too long to hear about that stuff, luckily. So I'm very curious to see. Again, that's like another reason why I think we're primed for a big direct, because like that's an easy place to here's a bunch of Zelda ass info because it's the 35th anniversary. Also, Metroid's 35th anniversary is this year, which we can talk about. If I do not see Metroid Prime 4 happening, obviously. But
the reason I asked about that was because I do think that we will get a Metroid game this year.
Yeah, I hope so too. Like either like some kind of 2D, another 2D game, or like a 2D remake also would be really cool. Or like or the trilogy port, which I know everyone's talked about a bunch. So like I think that's a similar place as Zelda in some ways.
Yeah, they'd have to redo the controls for that, you know. If it's the Wii port, right, they'd have to completely redo all 3 games. And like in my opinion, and maybe I'm not I think we've talked about this, not the popular opinion, I guess, but I don't think the GameCube version of Metroid Prime 1 and 2 is as good as the Wii version. Just because, you know, you got widescreen, you've got all the stuff that they added in the PAL release of those games, and some
Right.
bug fixes that came with that, as well as I think the motion controls.
And I mean in a way I think those porting that version over makes sense because I mean they ported Mario Galaxy over from Wii and like made it work. So like I could see a scenario where they like make those games work with like motion control or gyro stuff that they have in the Switch already. Maybe it wouldn't be as I don't know actually because like I never actually really played those versions of those the Metroid Prime Trilogy and Wii games.
Very difficult, because I mean the way the Galaxy stuff works is bad. I think so. If it worked like that, I think you'd have an irreparably terrible mistake. But I don't know. I think you could just redo the control. You could make twin stick controls for that. You would just have to change some stuff around.
Right.
Which wouldn't be too hard, but it would make some parts of that game feel weird. Especially like 3 is a very good Wii first person shooter. Like they knew what they were trying to make with that game, and it would be a bummer to have 3 without motion controls because it honestly I think it complements that game well. But
yeah, do you think they could do another scenario where they just do 1 and 2? They just put Metroid Prime 1 and 2 on there.
I think that they could do that.
They could get away with that.
People really just want 1. I know, like I like 2 the most. Like that's my favorite out of the 3. I know I'm definitely in the minority on that, but I they could, even if they put like a $15 version of 1, like remade in some way, like in HD. Like those games have still never been in HD. And 1 still looks great. I mean, they all look great, and they all run at 60 FPS too, which is a thing that just goes super unappreciated.
Yeah, for a GameCube, back in those GameCube days.
Yeah, using the power of the cube.
Yeah, I think regardless, I will. Personally speaking, it's been long enough that I probably will go replay at least 1 and 2.
They're great. They're so good.
Yeah, they're
still
good.
Great.
They're
like incredibly modern.
The first game is over there there's a DVD rack to my right here, and Metroid Prime on the GameCube is in that DVD rack. I can see the copy right there.
I can see my trilogy steelbook right from my place in my closet.
It's a great game.
It also is worth noting, Samus Returns, great video game.
Oh yeah, on 3DS.
A really great video game, and I know that studio had made that shitty Castlevania 3DS game that people were really unhappy with, and then I feel like Samus Returns was very much a redemption story for them. It's a very cool game. It's a little, some of the controls are a little simple, and not as fun as maybe something as pure as like Metroid Fusion, but like do that again with HD graphics on Switch with any of them. Redo Zero Mission, or heaven forbid, make a new 2D Metroid game. It doesn't have to be long, but you don't need to do much to make a great 2D Metroid game. I promise. You got so many studios that have made them.
It's not hard.
Yeah,
they can just pull from a Metroid game that already exists and just remake it because those games are.
Like a Fusion remake would be awesome.
Yeah,
totally. And maybe you don't have to mess with Super Metroid in that case. But I think that's the one that's prime for it, certainly.
Yeah,
but a Fusion remake would also be great. And people don't know that story as well.
I feel like Fusion would be a good one because that's like in the same vein as like them remaking Link's Awakening like a year or two ago. Because that's like another one that's like you can technically get Super Metroid on Switch now through the Nintendo Online stuff. So like them getting another game that's like not really easily available on the Switch in that new form, like they did with Link's Awakening, would be really cool. So like I would love to see them like remake Fusion, or what would be, I guess, well the other one on Game Boy was a remake of the original Metroid. So I probably wouldn't do that. Zero Mission
remake again would be weird, but I would be into it also.
Zero Mission 2. which is just Samus Returns. Again, like that's the actual date for that is August 6th. I have here in the doc, so it's still technically a little ways away, but I could still see them dropping some news in a direct early this year, and maybe like reveal whatever that new Metroid game or Metroid port is, and then have it release around that 35th anniversary date or something like that.
Totally.
Would be
That's
cool.
Summer is primo Metroid time.
Yeah.
Also, I think.
And this last one I have here for dates for anniversaries I think is a weird one, but I think like it's still pretty relevant. Like I think it would surprise people that they would do something with this in it, and so in that way I could see Nintendo doing something with it just because they're fucking Nintendo and will do whatever. But it's the 40th anniversary of the original Donkey Kong arcade game. So like the actual your Mario for the first time when he was Jumpman.
Yeah, good old Jumpman.
Yeah, that's July 9th. And I honestly, what I see them doing with this is probably like they probably would not like remake this game or something crazy like that.
God, can you imagine like 3D graphics Donkey Kong now? That'd be
HD.
crazy.
That would be really bizarre. What I could see them doing is one, like I think it was last year, right? They put out a Game and Watch like little Game Boy thing.
Yeah, my mind went to the same spot.
The fancy thing. Like I could see them releasing a version of that is Donkey Kong Arcade, or I could see them doing like a Mario 35, Tetris 99 sort of thing where it's like Mario or Donkey Kong like 99 or something like that, and it's like a bunch of people on that track. And you're trying to beat each other in like a similar fashion, and it's like
spawning barrels in other people's rows and stuff.
And like people are using hammers on each other or something, like some weird like multiplayer version of that. That's a Nintendo Online only game that you can get for free if you're subscribed to the Nintendo Online thing. I could see,
and that would be the one where Twitter says we're over it now.
I mean, I feel like they kind of said that a little bit with Mario 35.
Yeah,
like I feel like
sure, totally, you're absolutely correct. But I just feel like that would be the one like, is Nintendo just gonna do this forever now?
Yeah, and they're just gonna keep putting out these things that only last for like 2 months and then go away. What the fuck?
Yeah,
yeah.
God, I would. Or you know what would be really cool, because they did the Mario versus Donkey Kong series. What if they did like MVD 3, like a sequel to that? That'd be cool.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not sure the studio that makes those games is my only thing, and I don't know if what they're doing nowadays, but totally, like if they just got one of those and like made some weird Nintendo Online version of that, that's like
because like that's a perfect like downloadable only small game type thing, and like that art style, that kind of chibi with the little robots and stuff art style.
Yeah,
and that first one I really liked. The second one I was not as into, but that first one I really liked.
Yeah. I never actually checked those out, but they always seemed like a cool idea in concept.
Yeah, they're puzzle games with Mario and Donkey Kong, but you know, you have a little bit of that running around, jumping and grabbing hammers and putting blocks places. It's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I think again that's like the middle of the summer. So like I could see them just like being like, here's like a weird thing to celebrate this thing. I just see Nintendo being like Nintendo and doing that.
That's a really good, because when I didn't know about that until I saw your list here. So
yeah,
it's a good pick.
Yeah. So we got that. I think that really is going to do it for the show here, because we kind
of already speculated about what we know about. When do you think No More Heroes 3 is going to come out?
I honestly think it's pretty soon. Like I think that I could see that honestly being like a March or an April game. That's another reason why I think we're like kind of due for Direct, because like that game was for a while like slated for last year, and then they pushed it back because of all the COVID stuff. So I feel like that game is like not kind of as far off probably as it really seems, because I feel like it was straight up like a Mario 3D World situation where like Mario 3D World seemed like a game that was more than likely originally planned for last year, probably like in the holiday time frame, but then COVID happened and they kind of just like pushed all the slate back on everything a little bit. And I think this game just kind of got pushed back with that in some regards. Granted, it's like they're not, you know, Grasshopper Studios smaller and not like directly involved with Nintendo, but I still think that game is pretty primed to be here soon. So, and I feel like that's like also very much a prime game to be like, here's just like middle of a big Nintendo Direct, here's just like a big dump of this game, and like show proper gameplay and not Suda 51 standing in front of it like the last time, which was really good, and then just be like, then just boom, date at the end of that, and boom, you're good. No More Heroes 3. That's I think we're pretty close to that coming.
Two last things before we close that, just because it is important to the Nintendo conversation. But do you think, outside of Hollow Knight Silksong, do you think we're going to have another surprise indie exclusive for Nintendo this year? So I feel like we will. They've been pretty good about that. They had Hades last year. They had, I don't know if Into the Breach was 2018 or 2019. I feel like it was 2018.
I think that was 2018. I mean, that it's already been announced, but I think what was the one game? Another game again that was supposed to be last year that got pushed to this year was a sequel to a Metroidvania game. Oh God, I forgot the game. I forgot the name. That's the. It's Thomas. I remember the guy's name. Thomas Happ. He made.
Axiom Verge.
Axiom Verge 2. That's what it was.
That's a good one. Yeah, totally forgot about that.
Yeah, because that was another one that was supposed to be
September. Yeah.
Yeah, like end of late into last year, and then it got pushed back because of COVID, and it's one dude working on it. So, I think
that's a great one. Yeah.
I feel like at this point that game will just be like they'll do like one of their little either another Indie World or another Nintendo partner showcase type smaller video, and that game will just be like shadow dropped in one of those at this point. Totally.
That's the thing with Silksong is we're going to know about it as soon as it's out, because they're going to announce that game, or they're going to show it directly.
I definitely have a feeling they'll do that with Silksong as well. Other than that, like, it's hard to say. Like, I think like big things will be like, just like recency bias of like, I think like when will your Rogue Legacy 2 in early access is not coming to consoles, but I feel like by the end
that's a really good one.
By the end of this year, I'm pretty sure they've said by like the fall of this year is when 1.0 is coming, and I would not be surprised if when that goes 1.0, the 1.0 that'll be either first on Switch or just on consoles. Like it'll just come to all consoles, because that seems like a pretty big game, indie game at least in that vein.
The other thing I was gonna unless you have another indie.
I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head here. But what were you gonna say?
The other thing is, what do you think the Nintendo surprise of this year is going to be? Because we had Origami King last year. That was a total left fielder.
Right, sure.
And
disappointing.
Yeah, bummer, but
you're right. It was a surprise.
That was unexpected and a total surprise. And then we had one before then as well, but like we've had stuff where Nintendo kind of like Luigi's Mansion 3 is a really good one.
3, yeah.
They're sprinkling ones that it's harder now because like they're checking off boxes, right?
Where are they willing to go down
like
to?
That? I guess probably Metroid would be what that is, but we're now just expecting it.
I feel like Metroid is the one, is that surprise one to me in some ways. Honestly though, like I could see a new, like I don't know if this is like that exciting, but I could see a new Kirby game this year.
Sure.
Because like that first Star Allies came out in, I think it came out the year the Switch launched. I think
2017. I think so. Yeah.
I think so. I'm pretty sure, or maybe it was very early. No, it was 2017 because I reviewed it. And that was like one of my first reviews. It was like one of the very early video reviews I did. Here at Irrational Passions. Was it what the fuck? It was 2018?
Yeah, time is up. March 1st, 2018. Time is a fickle mistress.
But even so, like considering like when they were on the 3DS, Kirby games were coming out fucking yearly, like almost like Pokemon games were.
They put out like that like weird RPG 4-on-1 boss fight Kirby game. I don't know if that was last year.
Yeah, the weird free to play thing. Yeah, totally. It was super weird. But I think like a more proper, like not like a weird like here's Kirby as like a clay ball and he's rolling around, or like
honestly I could see Epic Yarn too.
Epic, okay, yeah, I could see that like an evolution of like,
because it's been enough time and Woolly World has come out that I think that you can go back there, especially on Switch. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, considering that Switch Yoshi game was really, really nice to look at. It's a good looking game.
So I think, yeah, there's a lot that they could bring out of that too, and that was just such a nice little pairing.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I could see that one just coming out of nowhere. Like it's like one of those ones where it's just like, oh yeah, they could, yeah, that game. Like they, sure, of course, whatever. Put
Kirby's new epic yarn.
Yeah, another Kirby game on the Switch, whatever. I could see that.
Star Fox 64 remake again.
No, I don't think we're gonna see Star Fox anywhere.
Yeah.
Or if anything, it would be like just like they finally do like the either ports, like maybe like I don't know if the original actual Star Fox is on the Nintendo Online stuff or not.
It's in the NES, yeah.
Is it okay? I was gonna say maybe throw that in there, or like
you even have Star Fox 2 in there.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
The
yeah.
Super Nintendo ones, yeah.
Star Fox Adventures 2. That's what we're gonna get this year.
Don't even get me excited. I'm sweating already.
Yeah, I was gonna say that dumb little Triceratops is back, baby.
Tricky's here to have a weirdly deep voice. Hey guys. What a great. I'm also looking at my copy of Star Fox Adventure in my closet right now.
Hell yeah.
Cool. I think that's it.
But yeah. That's gonna do it. Thanks everybody for joining us on this trip to Nintendoland.
Gonna be back.
Yeah, it's gonna be back. Where, like I said up top, we're gonna try and be on a more regular schedule going into 2021, which means we'll at least try and get an episode out monthly. I think these couple episodes right now will be a little bit stilted because I think we're gonna do this one here, which we're technically recording in January, but it's going to come out like the first week of February. And then the next episode will be all about that Mario 3D World, baby. And then probably after that, hopefully again, we're going to have those very, very end of February leading into March, anniversary hits and announcements. I think we'll maybe make that like into like the March episode, like, and we'll try and do that one earlier in March.
To what you were saying, like 3D World is the last known Nintendo game.
Like exactly.
Period. So
exactly. Yeah.
It'll either happen right before that game comes out or right after that game comes out.
It's going to be like, I think this has happened before in one of our episodes where we recorded one.
And literally
like a week later, they're like, here's a like a direct showcase or whatever the fuck.
Exactly what I was going to say. Knowing I mean, that's why we have to record these, because we essentially bring them into existence.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're welcome, everyone.
Yes.
Go tweet at, once again, go tweet at
hashtag release the Harada.
Yeah. Release the Harada cut. Tweet at Pokemon. Release the Harada cut. You cowards.
Yeah. No context.
No context.
Absolutely no context.
Release it. But yeah, thanks everyone. If you enjoyed the episode,
check out the video version of this if you're listening to the audio
check
version.
out. Yeah, if you're listening on podcast services, we appreciate you and love you, and feel free to subscribe to the feed and leave us a rating or likes or whatever the heck you do on those old systems. Or if you're into that video, that hot video goodness, you can see our dumb faces. You can see my Super Mario Kart, our partial Super Mario Kart poster back there.
You see my sound foam?
Hell yeah. And you can see all the nice graphics I did, and yeah, you can also watch the show there live on YouTube and subscribe there on youtube.com/passions. We'd appreciate it if you did that, or if you already do, thank you so much. And
thank you.
We'll see you next time when we take another trip to Nintendoland. Bye.